Justice League of America, The Ray Rebirth issue 1. Steve Orlando writing and Stephen Byrne on art. Which, by the way, Stephen Byrne has been doing so much. Like, how's he had enough time to do all the art he's been doing recently?
I don't know.
Because he had
this one particularly stood out. Just the art's so different because of the darkness and whatnot.
He had Justice League Power Rangers last week. It was only a couple issues ago he had some Green Arrow to do, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So he's been working overtime, so congrats to him. But so this is another one of these one-shots for these characters from JLA. The Ray is a character who I really didn't know anything about before I read this issue.
Me either. And my DC roots run deep, and I'm just like, who is this guy?
Yeah, sometimes you'll come up with something, Matt. You'll reference a character that you mean kind of like, what? Old man, speak up. Was your cane?
Yeah.
This is the one that when they announced the team, we were like, okay.
The Ray.
Which I never thought like the Ray was like a mainline DC. Like I remember seeing comic books when I was a kid with the Ray on them, but I thought they were part of like a DC offshoot.
Joe, it's funny.
Something.
He sounds like a pulp hero. He sounds like he belongs next to Rocketeer, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is funny because
Blue Beetle and
he does sound like one of the Charleston characters.
Yeah.
Which is funny because he's actually very progressive compared to what those are.
Yeah. Which is good because if you take this character that nobody knows a lot about, you can shape him how you want.
Yeah,
you know,
you
I don't know if
whatever.
this was what the original Ray was all about. But
So
Orlando's
somehow I doubt it.
Yeah.
Not to be funny, but I just feel like this seems like it's been overhauled for today.
Yeah, I'm going to guess he might have been gay before because I'm pretty sure when they announced this that it was already mentioned he was a gay character.
Yeah, but I feel like Orlando puts those in there just because diversity, and not just for diversity, but like
no. But what I'm saying is, Matt, when they announced this, everyone said, "Oh, is it a gay character?" That makes sense. So I think he was already gay. I think that was something that was already a thing.
I thought
he told us he was gay. Yeah, like at the press release.
No, it's like from people who knew who the Ray was, they seemed to. Oh, it's a gay character. That makes sense that Orlando's writing them. So I took that as he was already gay at least, or at least hinted that he was gay.
Yeah. I just thought it was a thing of Orlando going, okay, we're gonna make this character. I'm gonna make him my own. Add this because I felt it was very Midnighter, from what I hear because I never read that. Wildstorm's never been my thing, but it's never never the defining characteristic of the character. It just adds dynamics to it.
I'm going to say this is probably my favourite of these one-shots so far.
Wow.
I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was a really good story. It was, I mean, don't get me wrong, the parable for coming out of the closet was very on the nose, because obviously the whole idea is that light and electricity affect him, and he has to stay in and hide from everyone because of who he is. Yeah. But it was just funny, because the actual him being gay is almost said as if it doesn't, I'm gay, it doesn't matter. It's the electricity thing that's the problem.
Throw it out there really quickly. Like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
How he's looking at magazines, and it's like beefcake guys and stuff, because he's 13, you know? Which I thought that was handled really well. But yeah, his whole powers, like, talk about a tragic, like, powers. Because you have all this power, but if you use them, you explode and become an actual ray of light.
Yeah.
Like,
obviously, it reeks of one of those powers, one of those characters who, they just have to learn to control it properly. It's like, obviously, clearly the issue here is that he can't control any of this. And that's why when he's a kid, he thinks he might have killed a friend. So he takes a photo with a camera with a flash, and it makes him have a reaction, and he goes all balls out, flash of light, and he essentially becomes like a light ghost for like years, after one night of sneaking out the house and encountering some people, and he then comes in and saves his old friend who he thought had maybe died, who's now a politician, and he jumps in and saves him, and they call him the Ray of Light, so he becomes the Ray, and that's his superhero name. Even more so in the last Ray of Hope, sorry. You can see where I got Ray of Light from, though, given his power.
I got you though.
What I like about this is much like the last two. It tells you who the character is here. Origin story. You understand who this guy is, what his motivations are, where he is in the world. But I think because of this one, partly because it was more beautiful. Not to discredit the art from the last two, but this one was really pretty with all the light effects and stuff.
Stephen Byrne is like one of my favourites at the minute.
Because it looks painted almost, like it's got that pastel kind of.
It's the bright colours, but it's the lighting effects on them as well, like the way they fade in and out.
but also lots of black. Like when he becomes the Ray at the end, he's like pitch black, but there's the light around him. It's a really cool effect. But the other reason why I love it, I think, and this is maybe not even a testament to writing or anything like that. It's just that this one was such a blank slate for me, and probably all of us, in terms of who it was. That this was all new information. This was like all. None of it was reiterated from stuff we already knew. It was just new.
You just reminded me when I think Connor said he was like based off a pulp hero, and in the origin they worked that in, like because he grew up watching those pulp movies of the swashbucklers, and even that's his entry line when he fights the group that's trying to assassinate the mayor candidate that was his friend, and that whole suit is based off of I can't remember the pirate's name though, but I remember Leatherwing was the guy he was fighting. So I thought that's a really nice touch.
So it's funny. I know they only do this so it's obvious to us that he's watching the same movie over and over again. But I did kind of chuckle and go, it's funny how it's always the exact same frame of the movie we're seeing here in all these scenes.
Right. Oh, here's some fun. He is a pulp era. The original Ray came out in 1940. And he's part of the Freedom Fighters. So there you go. So they definitely updated him.
At some point, It's at some point along the way. I imagine he's probably had stuff added to him as the decades have went past and whatnot. But what I think is cool is that he is a character who is new to us in the sense that we didn't really know anything about him, and they're taking him and they're making him a part of this main team, and maybe it will actually make him an actual, at least B-level character in DC. Maybe we'll think of him.
They did it with like. Maybe it's faded a little bit, but Vibe a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like when they put him in the JLA team, whatever one that was.
Yeah, and now that character's on Flash,
Yeah.
And he's actually a character and not like just the punchline of Justice League Detroit.
Exactly. So maybe this can do a similar thing for the Ray, like where this is that step to becoming a name that people actually know.
And he has a cool, unique power set, so I feel like he's not just a copy of like someone else on the team.
Yeah.
I also really want to see him with with Superman and how they play off each other with the powers.
Yeah, with the Kryptonians. Yeah. Because you can just feed. And when Justice League of America was announced, I was kind of like, well, they're missing a Superman character, and I feel like the Ray has that covered now.
Yeah, she's the closest to it. It'd be interesting if he was around Superman, if it's like a Blue Lantern with a Green Lantern, how it supercharges them.
Yeah, that's kind of how I was picturing it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But I enjoyed this. This was...
it was a pretty great issue. It's hard to complain.
Yeah, no, solid one shot. Much like we said with the last two, it does what it needs to do. I think this maybe just went a step higher and just gave it a little bit more of a...
Well, again, like you said, we were already familiar with the Atom and with Vixen from different things. So it helps that this felt fresh because we're learning about a new character. Hopefully Killer Frost feels just as fresh, even though we've gotten her a whole bunch now. And
I think that's the most interesting one actually, because they have to do something different with that issue for her.
Yep.
Well, she's also the most interesting in the sense that they've really been setting her up in the event with all these little moments of Superman and Batman. They're really setting her up to be this anti-hero.
She's on par.
Coming to his side.
And when you think about her too, she is that level of power, like of a Superman and Batman. So she should.
She beats the Justice League on her own, essentially.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
But that's exactly why it can't just be another origin issue, because we know who she is. We even had her origin in the Suicide Squad backup.
Yeah,
which is why it probably definitely won't be. That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I almost feel it's going to be a bridge issue between Justice League, Suicide Squad, and JLA.
Probably. I think it will be set after the event.
Do you know what I like though? Do you know what I think is really impressive? Is I think all three of these so far, these one shots, have all made me go, yeah, I want to see what happens to them next. I want to see more of their stories. So the fact that they're all teasing into this one book, that's all of them together, and they can cycle through. Maybe they're focused. Maybe it'll be like Detective, where the first arc is more Ray focused, second arc's more Lobo.
It should be a team book, and where each of them get their time in the spotlight for stuff like Pete just said with Detective. You know.
Yeah.